Okay, welcome back. We had a problem, I believe, with YouTube. Um, they basically kicked us off. So, and we did finish the episode. I don't think it was recorded. So we're going to go back to where the first part of this episode 147 started, and and continue on because we left off when Miss Royce was giving her insight. So she's going to repeat her insight and then go from there. So sorry about that, folks. We don't know what happened. Just hopefully we can finish now. So if we can't, then we'll put it in writing and hopefully that will go through. So
Yeah. So we're being adaptable.
talk about adaptability. Oh, geez, I didn't think about that. So it's like, yeah, a little frustrating. But you're right. We're being adaptable. That's what this whole thing's about. So, yeah, very good. Okay. Well, let us continue on from the previous podcast, which is we're going to call that part A. We're going to call this part B. So please continue.
Okay. I'm going to start over again because I hadn't gotten that far into my insight. Some will say it is to be a momentous day. And what does that really mean? Momentous can be something grand and worthy of note, or something that sticks out, and it can be something in the process of being created, as in when you have your focus and presence anchored in the moment, thereby having all your faculties, powers, and abilities available in a singular space and time. To create in such a way leaves all possibilities open, all potential available to be realized without restriction. It is the activation of the continuum between the dot and the circle without the circle being fully developed. To focus on the dot, the center, meaning the unrealized whole of all that is, and then letting that wholeness blossom and grow in such a way that has not been realized before, is a gift beyond measure. It is a living example of growth, of life, of expression of being, momentous in its inference of unrestricted realization, the true acknowledgement of the space between. And I made reference before to, it's like with the dot and the circle, the dot being the seed and the fruit being the circle. There's all this stuff that happens in between. The seed takes root and grows into a plant. The plant blossoms and the little bees come around and 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 then it becomes a fruit. So there's all of that in between the seed and the fruit, a huge amount of creative movement. So
that's what we see in the physical.
yeah.
Yeah, as I see that so-called space, even though we're talking more about your dot and circle, which you've explained beautifully here, but also in previous episodes, because the dot of all that is. So the so-called space in between that and the circle, which becomes our reality, correct? Okay, if I got this correct, right, is to me the void. And so our consciousness goes into that void or is the void, and then it manifests a reality, and in this particular space that we're in, we call it a physical reality.
Yep.
So
Yeah, the dot and the circle can be visualized in so many different ways. It's like I haven't come up with a way that it cannot be utilized. So
it just it's
it's all encompassing.
it's all it's all it is it's their it's source, and us as source becoming physical, or even if it's non-physical but in other dimensions, it may be non-physical in the lower dimensions, but somewhat physical, if I can say it this way, in the upper dimensions. That makes sense?
I guess. It's clear as mud.
Chloe, your face is like, okay, you're going to say anything on this?
Well, I was thinking. Sorry, I got distracted in my own thoughts.
Yeah.
I was thinking while you were talking about the dot
Mhm.
when it opens to the circle, then your focus is no longer just at the dot, but it's out on the circle, and that place on the circle, wherever that those millions of places that it could be, your focus becomes
Oh, yeah.
another dot, the center again. You don't lose this first center, but there's another center. It has expanded its beingness, and so this is another center. And so what does that mean? That as that center opens up, this other center becomes included in that realization.
Because it's where your focus is.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
the growth potential cannot be limited.
Well, it makes sense when we're talking about time jumping, and we're going to go kind of deep here. What I term time jumping, the reality jumping, um, uh, time folding, um, timeline realities, and all these other words that we've been using, and so we can focus on any one of those, and that's where we're at. And so that becomes that dot within the dot. Is that about right? Yes, I see it, because it's where we focus, and so we're focusing on that. So that's what we perceive, or
Yeah.
what we believe we perceive, and what we perceive we believe, and so that explains that. And you may say this is clear as mud, but I'm starting to see it more. So it's
I understand. I was making a funny.
Oh, okay. So it's where we're, even if we think, okay, there's only one reality, but is there really? Because whatever we're putting our focus on,
It's whatever your perspective.
we think this is our the only reality, and we put here on earth, and we learn how to be good people, and we go to heaven, or whatever it may be, or hell. All these. Then I talked about
all of
religions.
those things are restrictions.
Yeah, and we're not
And
like no.
We never have fit in that.
Or it's the control mechanisms, the programs that have been